I'm grooving with this, yo. I'm grooving. Yeah, what up, y'all? It's JG the Commodore. You know that because it says JG, publisher, auburnsports.com. That is who I am, and that's what I do. It is great to see you guys again. We're draining on a Saturday, what do we call this? Late afternoon? Early evening? It's 5 o'clock. It's 5:04. Yeah, we'll call this afternoon. Fuck it. That's what we'll do. Anyway, it's great to be here with you guys again. I do want to give a special shout to Glenda's brother. I met Glenda last night at the City Grill, and she said her bro, I don't remember his name, is a big fan of the show. I think it was specifically football, but who knows? And so Glenda's bro, I'm always glad to have you drinking with me here on the show. As for everyone else here, whether you are Glenda's brother or not, it is awesome to see you guys here on the internets, the wonders of the internets, to bring us all together. The Auburn Tigers, of course, victorious 81-66 over South Carolina to move to 6-1 in league play, 16-3 now overall, in a game that Auburn, at that, what was it about? The last 5 minutes of the first half. First 5 minutes of the second half, it was an absolute mauling. Auburn Tigers, you thought they were going to win by 50, and then just kind of let off the gas a little bit, is the way Wynn described it afterward, and got down to 10-point cushion. And you kind of figured, okay, Auburn's going to get things going again, and they did, and Janai was a big part of that, and then pushed it back out again. BP, in the post-game radio interview with Andy, seemed pretty disgusted with the defensive effort and effectiveness in the second half. I said they scored 44, and that was just absolutely unacceptable. You got to love it that BP gets a huge road win, and he's just pissed about defensive effort afterward. He's just disgusted. And really wanted to talk more about Allen than anybody. Al Flanagan, you know how it is. I mean, he does a lot of little things for this team, and I think he had 2 or 3 assists tonight with 0 turnovers in a lot of minutes. And for him, that's always a big thing. So let's go ahead and move over to our regular home here with the updated schedule. I do want to change out this real quick. That box score can be tough to read, but here is the Ken Palm for the upcoming games. And there's some important ones here. The Auburn Tigers, in my opinion, have taken care of business so far. That's the SEC schedule I've got up there in front of you. That Georgia loss was kind of gnarly, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. It was gnarly. It was absolutely gnarly. But there's some good wins on there, and there are some tough games coming up. Texas A&M is a team that was undefeated in league play until today. They lost by, I think, 8 at UK. So that changes the look of that game, at least in my opinion, to some degree. And then we've got got a game at West Virginia next weekend where BP was kind of laughing. He said, doesn't everybody have a cousin that lives in West Virginia? Just make it a family trip. I thought that was hilarious. We do have some super chats that came through earlier from some absolute studs. Pocket Watch jumping in first with a Weagle Pocket Watch, someone who lives in my general vicinity, within about 50 miles of where I live, and I'm glad to have him here. I'm also glad to know him in real life, and what a stud. We love Pocket Watch. He's always here with us. Blake R. in the house as well, coming in live from the East Coast. He's a little bit away from home right now, but he's out there getting that dollar bill, y'all, because cash rules everything around him. Well, not really. But if he was part of Wu-Tang, that would certainly be the case. He says, JGT just got off work and back in my hotel in Virginia. There we go. Seeing the good news. Ward and Eagle, it's drained. So he had to work and didn't have a chance to watch the game. Very sad. But we're here to recap it for him, for show. Also coming through, a guy that I partied with last night. Where are you there? Corey Dubb and his wifey, Tori Dubb. There he is, 81 points. Only 3 made threes. Can you say paint domination? Yeah, there was such an interesting stat that I kind of came across there as I was throwing this together. Janai had 12 two-point buckets today, okay? South Carolina had 13 as a team. I mean, jeez. Auburn had 30 buckets today in all, 2s and 3s. South Carolina had 20 buckets, 2s and 3s. I mean, that's, like you said, Corey, that's just taking it to them, and it's really not very nice. But, when it's an opponent in the SEC, you got to do what you do. I did party a little bit with Corey Dubb. It took me a little while to get my life back together this morning because Corey That guy's an animal, and your friend there, I hope that he does what we were hoping that he was going to go do. Anyway, let's see. Bo is great in the chat. Says, anyone going to start pissing off the Ole Miss folks early? Tell them we love the new linebacker. I am not getting involved with that. They already hate me so much. It's okay if they hate you. Let's see. Eric says, hey, Barbara, how about that home winning streak? That is a reference to Barb, who jumped in our chat last year. Was it last year? When Auburn played Gonzaga and was, in a friendly way, but was trying to talk some junk at us. We haven't seen her since, but they lost. And so Auburn now has the longest home winning streak in the country. How about that? Matt N, I should say, in the house. What up, my man? He's encouraging everyone to hit the like button, which I heartily agree with. Corey says he's never met a non-hot Glenda. I don't know. I don't know what to say on that one. I'm not sure I've met another Glenda. I feel like a stranger coming in as well. One of the true studs of this channel, a legend in his own right. Word up, we've got a four-headed monster right now, wrecking shop, brain drain time, Swoogans. Hope all the Tates are all well. Big ups to Mama Tate. Thank you for remembering her. We stopped by to see her today. I try to get by there as often as I can. We saw her today at the nursing home, and she's doing good. She's stable. She's doing the things that she needs to do to not be crazy. So that's good. Thank you for asking and for keeping us in your thoughts. Feel like a stranger. That's why you're an absolute stud. There he is. Eric O., who had a funny comment earlier about Barbara, says he wants to pour one out for Barbara and Gonzaga's home court winning streak by something strong, Babs. I love it. In honor of Gonzaga losing, which we all love, I'm going to drink a little sip of this Rock Hill Farms. Those of you who are bourbon people know that this can be kind of a tricky one to get your hands on. This I got in the allocation 2 years ago, and that's all I've drank of it since then. My wife loves this as a decanter. I mean, she just likes the bottle a lot, so it's like at the front of our bottle. This is a 100 proof product of Buffalo Trace, and one you just don't see very often. So pour that in the old glass to celebrate both the Auburn Tigers winning and the Gonzaga Bulldogs losing as well. Also, a cool stat that I wrote in the game wrap, which is up at auburnsports.com on the front page if you guys want to read that and you want to, kind of multitask. This is the first time since 1967 that Auburn has won back-to-back conference road games by double digits. I mean, that's pretty damn impressive, I think. That's hard to do. It doesn't happen very often. You know, someone said earlier about never met an ugly Glenda. This guy says I've never met a hot Glenda. Or any Glenda. I know, it's kind of a cool name. I like that. Also, Super Chat coming through from the Canoeman. I used to call him the Canoe Man for the longest time, and now I've changed to Canoeman. I think it's because administrative assistant refers to him as the Canoeman. Best time of the week with the best host. Thank you for your support. You know, Canoeman was on a trip, which would have been an accurate statement. You're on a cruise earlier in the week. Could not stream the show, but he was still super chatting. Unbelievable. Chris H. in the house, whom I ran into on Friday afternoon, had a chance to run into him and his wifey, and he got to meet the administrative assistant, so glad we got that done. We talked about bourbon a little bit, and I don't think his wife was a big fan of the bourbon talk. Oh, yeah. It's good pour. Yeah, I bought it for retail because I got it in the allocation. I'm not sure I'd pay a ton of money for it. It just kind of reminds me of, like, I guess like Blanton's or, I don't know, it's just pretty much down the middle. Nothing crazy. Blake R. says his mom's name is Glenda. She's 72. If you find that hot, more power to you. Well, hey, man, I'm glad to hear I'm sure she's doing well, and I'm glad to hear that she's your mom because we love you. Stu Pup jumping in, who's always with us on the show. Every single show we've ever done, we've got Stu Pup. He's also a great caller and a great bunker. 2 SEC road dubs this week. Solid. Yeah, that's a pretty damn solid week, isn't it? And it's a good way to kind of fortify against some of the challenges that are going to be coming up. If you guys think that Auburn's going undefeated on that list right there, you're crazy. It ain't happening. But that's okay because everybody's having, Everybody's having some issues. Corey said he's hurting today. Yeah, it took me a while to get going myself. I think Denton's mom and dad were banged up a little bit too. We all were. Frank G in the house says, JGT, can you talk about Traore's 8 points? Yes, I had it written down in my notes. I didn't end up putting it in the game wrap because there was so much else going on. But Traore just stepping up and hitting that 3 kind of early. Newman with a nice piece of trivia there that Ryan Powell's mom's name is Glenda. We love Ryan Powell. So that's great. Just very, very, with a lot of confidence, took that pass from Trey, put up a 3, nice stroke, hit the shot. It was like, boom. And then the next possession, took a shot in the same corner, Scotty Pullman's corner, and he missed it. But, yeah, he was kind of playing with a different level of confidence today, right? It finishes with 8 points. For him, that's an incredible outing, and it would be great if Auburn could get a few more minutes, useful minutes out of him, right? At times, he's looked really, really out of sorts here lately. And maybe he's coming around. I also wrote about this in the game wrap. Trey Donaldson was not a big statistical, didn't leave a big statistical footprint in this game. But the drop-off in the attacking-minded manner of the team stays really level even when Wynn leaves. Now, Wynn's a much better scorer than Trey at this point. There's no doubt about it. But Trey is he's doing a good job of running the offense when Wendell needs to take a break. And that wasn't necessarily happening a month ago. So I think Trey has really been stepping up. It's crazy to think about it, but, I mean, he was a really good football player. Actually, Rivals had him as a 4-star safety and a 3-star point guard. But his passion is basketball, and BP just absolutely loves the kid's athleticism, and he's very coachable. And he also has this aggressiveness that's not insane like KD. Although, much love to KD, we saw something today we have never seen before. He passed up an open 3 in transition to then drive to the bucket and score an easy basket. He turned down a 19% shot from three-point range and went in for a 95% shot at a distance of 1 foot and hit it. It was amazing. It was just amazing. And I know that Burgo, I didn't even see, I don't have to see a picture of it. Burgo and BP were like, yes. That's it. Corey Dub says a healthy Westry sure would help right about now. Sort of. A healthy Westry all year long could help right now. Westry's fine right now. I mean, I've watched him in practice twice in the last 6 days, and he's healthy. He just is so far behind mentally. His injury came at a time when he just had to be on the court, And so he hasn't been able to get up to speed, and he doesn't know where to go and what to do and all that kind of stuff. So that's the problem right now. He's healthy. He's fine, Corey. He's doing real good. And he plays on the scout team with Stretch, and those guys absolutely give it hell. So they're doing their thing. They're doing their thing. They're helping their team their way. D. Lucky in the house. Truly one of the Mount Rushmore people of the entire AuburnSports.com community. He would be on the Mount Rushmore if we were to do it. He says they hate you because they ain't you. War damn Eagle. Talking about those a few South Carolina fans trying to shout down the Auburn Tigers when they were doing the body getter late. Auburn fans in the arena. Colonial Life Arena there in Columbia, South Carolina. Let's see. Something funny was going on between Blake and Corey, but I missed another part of it. Corey was hitting it pretty hard last night. We all were, really. Let's see. Sam H jumping in. What's up, man? Sam's almost always here with us, if not always here with us. One of the true stars of our football season, but also a great basketball fan as well because he loves the Auburn Tigers. How about young Traore stepping up a little today? Ward M. Eagle, JG. Yeah, that's huge to get you jumping in. I mean, he would be probably, 10th or 11th right now, but I mean, shit. You need minutes from everybody. I mean, Lior's been stepping up, playing a little bit too. And it looked like Zepp was a little slowed down today. He had a wrap on his right leg, and it seemed like he didn't play quite as much as he had because KD was playing a little bit more. But maybe, I don't know, BP, that's you're getting into the weeds a little bit there, I guess. It might have just been the way it goes sometimes. You just kind of have to split up playing time every now and then. JM in the house. What's up, man? He says, what up, JG? Not to throw off the dialogue, but this Rebel Grover is still your fan. Bring back G-Pits. G-Pits for life. Hey, what up, JM? Thanks for coming over, man. And thanks for not hating me, because a lot of the Ole Miss people do. I think there's just been a miscommunication because I didn't say anything nasty or anything. I don't know. I said on a G-Pits that I think the Auburn job is better than the Ole Miss football job. I mean, and I feel like that's just the way it is. Neil agreed with me and was like, hell yeah, that's true. He said it on the air. That's it. That's it. And some people over there thought that I was completely disrespecting Ole Miss and stuff, which I don't and would never do. And I still don't, and I'm still never going to do. So hopefully we'll get this all straightened out at some point, you know. But I appreciate you. I don't think G-Pits is dead for what it's worth. I don't really know what's going on, but I don't think it's dead. So I'll leave it there. Ravine, who was our first chatter tonight. Ravine is with us all the time. We love this guy. How about that ball movement today? We are a better team when we are moving without the ball, when distributed well and resulted in high percentage shots. Nowhere was that more evident, Ravine, as you know, than the way he was working, communicating with Janai. The South Carolina doesn't have anybody that can stop Janai. I mean, he's just too damn big, and he's quick, too. They didn't have anybody. They had one dude that was 7 feet tall. They felt like they had to it's a guy that doesn't play very much, but they were like, shit, we got to have somebody that can get on top of Janai, and that guy just got absolutely worked. I thought Janai's positioning was incredible today, and positioning is only as good as the guy who's going to feed you the ball and reward you for that positioning. I thought Wen did an outstanding job of keeping his head up and getting that ball distributed. 12 assists today for Wen. I think he had 4 turnovers, which he was bothered by. You could hear it in the post-game radio show, but still, you'll take 3-1 assist to turnover, particularly when you've got a point guard that is just such a pain in the ass to deal with. Like Wen Green, he's been playing some great basketball. Can't say the same about Janai these last couple games, right? LSU game and then the Mississippi State game really wasn't a factor in either one of those games. Defensively, rebounding, shooting, he was just off his game. But today, 27 points, 12 of 19, I believe, from the floor. Had 10 or 11 rebounds, had a couple blocks. Really, really good game from him. So he's back on track. And I think we all know that Janai's a hell of a basketball player, period. Yes. Let's see what else is going on here. Solo Tigre in the house. What up, brother? One of our fellow drummers. Trey will help against bigger guards in the tournament. I knew he was strong, but he also has much more finesse than I was expecting. I'm excited to see what he can become. I am with you 100%. I wrote about that in the game wrap. I don't know if I would use the word finesse, but I know what you're talking about, man. He's just kind of he's more skilled than I thought he would be as previously a full-time football player who kind of seemed to almost be moonlighting as a basketball player. You know, when I saw him in the summertime, you could tell he's a football player because he's just so rough, you know. I mean, when he's driving downhill, dude, it's come hell or high water. I'm getting to that hole. And he's showing more feel for the game, more technique. I think that's what you're talking about. And to me, and I wrote this in the game wrap, he's ahead of schedule for me. He is not Wen Green at this point. I'm not trying to say he is, but defensively he gives you something. On the ball, he's giving you something. He's creative. He's a good passer. Sometimes he gets a little ambitious, right? He had that really cool pass he was trying to do, like a one-handed low throw from like the high point all the way down to the baseline, and there was a miscommunication, I think, with either Al or Traore, and it just went out of bounds, and BP was like, what are you doing? You know, he does a little bit of that, but I think his decision-making in general is really, really good, and I love the way he's playing. I think he gives them a lot. Bo is great, echoing JM's sentiments about G-Pits. He hopes it comes back. I mean, it means a lot to me that you like that show, Bo. Boise, Bo is great. Phil Pettaway in the house. What up? Wendell the Wizard JG. That's his nickname now, Wendell the Wizard. He is pretty damn good, man. For a guy that, like, a year ago, we were just kind of like, he's just kind of like the Evel Knievel of three-point shooters, like deeper the better, further the better, more off balance the better. And now he's just becoming a very technically clean point guard. I was disappointed. I saw a list the other day from somebody somewhere on the internet, and it was like top 30 point guards in college right now, and he wasn't on the list. And I thought, geez, Louise, come on, man. I mean, like the dude at Detroit Mercy, Antoine, whatever his name is, like, okay, I get that. And the guy at Penn State's really good. I mean, I understand that. I'm not trying to say Wen's number one, but man, Wen's got to be top 25. He's got to be. He's a really good player, man. Let's see. Bo is great, giving us some updates, saying Mizzou is down 1 against Alabama with 11:44 to go in the first. I know they're playing without Kobe Brown tonight, right? It sounded like he was getting like a scheduled night off or something, which is kind of a new thing, right? Like, jeez. Husky fam, what up, bro? Wendell won me some money Other than that, all around good game. That sounds like a double win right there. Ravine saying Jalen Williams' little touch shot in the high post was great, and now Janai is developing it as well. Yeah, that he absolutely loves that shot. Jalen does, where it's not really a hook though. It's more like a push shot. Was how it was described on the bunker, which is a great description. From near the free throw line, he's within about 2 feet of the free throw line, and he just kind of pokes it up there with his left hand. It reminds me of a move that I covered a lot in the '97 NCAA tournament, which was Miles Simon, who was a shooting guard, combo guard for Arizona back then. He's now an assistant with the LA Lakers. And I played horse against him at Auburn years ago, and he beat my ass. But he did this teardrop floater from the free throw line like the whole year. He actually beat Kentucky with it in the national championship game in '97, and I was always like, bastard, just because I didn't like him. But, yeah, he's got the same shot. Now, this shot for Jalen is not a moving shot. He just kind of turns and then pushes it up, and whereas Miles Simon's kind of running forward. But nonetheless, free throw line, just absolutely tormenting people, and it's a great shot. The discussion from Phil earlier about Wendell the Wizard feel like a stranger of David the Wizard. I wish we could get in touch with David and make sure he's good. David, of course, one of our favorite bunkers from the quarantine. Hilarious trying to find a way into Nikki Glazer's DMs. It was pretty damn funny. Canoeman with another super chat says Neil Ruin's G-Pitch should be Commodore and Gabe. Ooh, interesting. Canoeman took particular umbrage with Neil saying some disrespectful things about Auburn fans in general, and I understand that. These are things that I have not said about Ole Miss fans and wouldn't because I don't feel that way about them. I do like Gabe a lot. Gabe, of course, the publisher at PowerMizzou.com and an all-around stud. Really good guy. Guy that came to this job, he's the publisher at their site, from TV. He was a TV reporter. It's kind of interesting. Phil says we're going to see that 1-3-1 more now. Well, I mean, South Carolina was kind of dallying with it today. Ran probably 5 possessions of 1-3-1 trap, and Auburn had no problem with it. I remember one time Auburn recognized it really quick with Wynn on the floor, got the ball fed to Leor in the corner for a wide-open 3. He ended up missing it, but Auburn's diagnosing changing defenses much more quickly than it was 6 weeks ago. And I haven't seen a lot of trouble. I don't think Auburn's encountered a lot of trouble with specifically the 1-3-1. I feel like they have a good plan to how to beat that. Now, a 2-3 that has good players in it could be a little more disruptive, but we'll have to wait and see who can do that. Arkansas can do some of that. Tennessee can do some of that. So we'll see. And A&M has run it a time or two, but their footprint's usually more like man. Boa's great says, Kuhneman, please. We are trying to heal this fracture, and here you go breaking things. Trying to get it done. Smoking Mirrors in the house. Smoking Mirrors, one of our warriors from the East Coast, or closer to the East Coast, who recently gifted me generously a bottle of rum, which I was kind of like, I don't know. You know, I'm a bourbon guy. I don't drink rum. But he sent me a bottle of Diplomatico, and I was like, I'm in. And so I drank it, and it's delicious. It really is. I probably had half the bottle now, and it led me to buy another bottle of rum, and I like that too. So I'm a little more into rum than I used to be. Frank G says, JGT, do you think Calipari entertains any Texas interest? Hell yes. If I was him, I would. If I was Texas, I don't think that he would be the guy I'd be worried about, right? Interesting. You know, one thing I thought about, and me and Henry were talking about this at practice the other day, you know, Wesley Yates, the outstanding shooting guard from outside, suburban Houston, Texas, signed with Washington. Auburn was a finalist along with Texas for his services. Signed with Washington, but Washington's been kind of dog water lately, and there's some early talk that Washington may end up purging its coaching staff at season's end. I wonder if that's going to be a situation where he would seek relief or a release from that NLI. I wonder. I wonder if he ends up being back in the fray at some point if there is a change at Washington. It's just something to kind of keep an eye on. And that's not intel coming from like anywhere special. I was just kind of thinking it through with Henry the other day. Ravine says Neil leaving plenty of room for JG on the high road. Yeah, I mean it was kind of tough. I just don't. I'm not that guy, you know. I'm not the guy that. I'm not going to go around ragging on other teams. I've really only got a problem with a couple teams, really. You know, Duke. You guys know how I feel about Duke. Boy's great. Knows how I feel about Duke. Likes to gig me about it a little bit. And in terms of SEC, man, Tennessee and Georgia for me are just off the charts. And specifically Jimbo Fisher. The Alabama thing, I mean, look, guys, I started covering Auburn in 98, having no understanding of the Auburn-Alabama rivalry, really. And so for my first 7 or 8 years covering Auburn, I mean, Auburn beat Alabama most of the time. So to me, it's always been kind of an even rivalry. And, I mean, I don't know. I respect any Auburn fan that hates Alabama. I respect it. But for me, I'm just talking about me, the dog barking, it's too much. And then the Tennessee people just always thinking they're awesome. It's just like, I mean, guys, for real. Corey Dub says, are you sipping rum or mixing it with something? No, I'm just going straight out of the bottle, brother. That Diplomatico is really good. Like rum, I'd expected rum to have some weird taste. It doesn't. It's very sweet. It's definitely sweeter than bourbon. The ones I've been drinking have been extremely sweet. The Boom Boo, which I don't think real rum people love, but I mean, I like it for what it is. It tastes like Bananas Foster to me, which is good for an after-dinner drink. And then Diplomatico is not quite that sweet, but it still tastes like, I don't know, you just need to try it. Maybe you come by here at some point soon, and we can just kind of hit it. Or we can meet up there at the tipping point. I'd be happy to buy you a pour. I think they've got it up there. By the way, Diplomatico was recently bought by Brown-Forman. So they are now part of the Old Forester family. We'd love to have that. Let's see. I feel like a stranger kind of helping us keep reset with what Neil said. Neil said Ole Miss football was on par with Auburn football. Thought he may have been smoking PCP and DMT. I mean, if he's talking about right now, yeah. They've been better than Auburn these last couple days, right? But last couple years too. But gosh, in general, come on now. I mean, that thing is, I just don't want to fight over it. I mean, I like Ole Miss. My experiences at Ole Miss and with Ole Miss have been really good. So there's no reason to ain't no reason to fuss, you know. Oh, I didn't mean to drink this. I did want to get into the Old Fine whiskey too, but I'll make this half pour of Rock Hill Farm here. I was also gifted a bottle from AUEKU on the bunker, who's an absolute stud, by the way. A bottle of Old Fine whiskey, which is delicious bourbon, by the way. You can find this at every liquor store in America, I swear. And it is so good, and it is so underrated. Little on the sweet side if you guys like sweet stuff, but it's so good. And it's got a beautiful hue. It's like really dark, you know. I'm going to drink this here in a minute after I finish this Rock Hill Farms. Let's see. Solo Tigre says he's about to take a pull on some Evan Williams 1783 small batch. It was my birthday bottle I got for myself a couple weeks ago. What a delicious bourbon. That's a great call right there, brother. I'm just weary of chasing bottles. You may be as well, Solo Tigre, so I like stuff. I'm starting to enjoy drinking stuff I can find every single time. Evan Williams 1783 small batch. You can find it every time, and it's a good bourbon. It's really good. So much love there. Let's see. Phil P says that game, i.e. Auburn and Ole Miss, is going to have a lot of juice come the fall. I agree, man. That's going to be a hot one, right? Because they've got their own guy that, you know, he's good, and Auburn's got the former Ole Miss guy who's got kind of a bug up his ass to show that he belongs in the SEC, you know, so that's good. Ravine says rum, that sugar liquor. It's true. I mean, it is very, very sweet. It's basically made with cane sugar. I mean, that's essentially where you're starting there. Okay, so let's take a quick look here. I'm going to zoom this in a little bit more of these games coming up. So you got A&M this weekend. I'm sorry, during the midweek at home. That's in Neville Arena. Again, A&M lost by 8, I think, at Kentucky today. Kentucky's a really weird team. Like, sometimes they're absolutely dog water, and sometimes they're solid, and they were solid today. They hit shots. Texas A&M didn't down the stretch. So I think Auburn's going to win that game, and then stuff starts getting hairy. That game in West Virginia's pretty good. It seems like they've always got, and I was talking to some coaches the other day about this, they've always got like a Catino Mobley type, right? Like some combo guard that's like super fast and hits shots. He's like always got something like that. BP said on the radio that he thought that Barkley was going to be at that game because he was going to be in West Virginia for a charity function on Friday, I think he said. I thought it was a joke, but then he wasn't joking, so holy shit. Farm data. Good golly, Miss Molly. Look at this. Wow. Thank you, Farm Data, for that massive super chat. What all does it cost to keep Neil off of our airwaves? We aren't a cult. True. And we aren't placated to, by Commodore. So fork the land, Bear Cubs. Well, the cult thing. Again, I disagree with that strongly, and I just don't really want to fuss with people like in the media, my friends or whatever. I mean, I just can't. This is just me talking. I can't imagine saying that. I mean, because there are some fan bases that I do think are a cult, and I just still can't imagine saying that about them. I don't know. I just don't feel like that's my place. But he's a different guy. And he's, that's his opinion. The good news, Farm Data, is that he hasn't been on the airwaves in the Auburn sphere lately. I don't think we've done a show in probably 2 months. And I don't know that we're going to be doing a show anytime soon. I tried to I sent him a text on Saturday night or Saturday afternoon last week, just trying to kind of see what's going on, and I got kind of just a real standard answer. I don't know. I don't really know what the story is on that. But the bottom line from that perspective, Farm Data, is that I don't think you'll be hearing from him much over here anyway. Thank you very much for that super chat, sir. Incredible. You have been incredibly supportive and generous this entire year. And, of course, you're a longtime bunk, too. So, appreciate you, brother. Whew. Man, that Blake R. just puts out that flame emoji, and he's right about that. Damn, Farm Data bringing it. These games are going to be tough, though. West Virginia's always they're just such a pain in the ass team. Georgia at home, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. And then you've got the game at Tennessee. Jeez, Tennessee's been really good. But, Kentucky went there and won last week. And then you got Alabama on the 11th, which is going to be a big game because Why Not AU is going to be having his party up here for that game. They're somewhere in downtown Auburn. I don't know where yet. And of course, on the court, that's going to be a huge game as well. And then you've got – so that game's in Neville Arena. Then you got the return. You got to go there in March. I think it's the next to last game of the season. So, yeah, some tough games coming up. Missouri's kind of a weird team. I'm going to see how they do against Alabama tonight. Without Kobe Brown, I'd be surprised if they won that. But they've been a pretty credible team until the last, couple weeks. And then we'll learn more about A&M. I think they're a little bit of a fraud, but we'll find out a little bit more as we move on. It's going to be a tough run there, though. You still got 2 games against Tennessee and 2 games against Alabama ahead. Both teams are really good. And then you just kind of have to see what happens with some of these other mid-tier teams. They can kind of step up and bite you in the butt if you're not careful. Auburn was not playing one of those teams today, however, and Auburn took care of business on the road at South Carolina. 81-66 was the final. A game that Auburn led, I think, at maximum was 26 points. And really just played a great game. They knew going in that they had the best big man on the floor in Janai Broome. They knew that South Carolina didn't have anybody that could defend him if he had the ball in the right places, i.e., on the block. And so they just got him the ball on the block, and he just drove them down. He had some poacher buckets, and they also set up a bunch of system stuff for him. And he finished with 12 buckets in two-point range. South Carolina, as a team, had 13. So he was just an overwhelming advantage for the Auburn Tigers today, and as he should be. He's a very good post player. Solo Tigre says, I'm just not that big of a drinker, and I'm a bit of a poor. Mrs. Tigre got me a handle of Larceny last year, and I probably have half of it left. Well, it's interesting to hear that, brother. I hope to see you again. I know we'll certainly do a Madison/Huntsville drinking event at some point this year. And I know that's not exactly where you're at, but maybe you can get over there and see us, and we can kind of get you hooked up a little bit, man. Larceny's solid. It's a good Heaven Hill product, but I think we can get you something a little bit better that you might enjoy a little bit more. I think Larceny has kind of a weird taste, but that's just me. Everybody, it's all down to. I think Elizabeth Moss is really hot, so people think she's ugly. So it just depends. Kanuman says, nor should Neil be over here. He made it clear what he thinks of us, and the great folks working the Auburn beat, has chosen to stick by those comments and not apologize or even walk them back. Shocks me that anyone associated with Auburn or in the Auburn beat would want anything to do with that guy. All right. I guess he was just kind of, I thought that he was trying to give certain people hell, and he kind of broadened the barb. But whatever. AU256 says, what are you sipping on tonight, JGT? Previously on Lost. No, I'm just kidding. Earlier, I was drinking this Rock Hill Farms, which I got in the allocation 2 years ago. Buffalo Trace product, kind of similar to reminds me of Blanton's, I guess. I mean, I like it. That's what I was drinking earlier. Now I'm switching to Old Fine Whiskey, which was provided to me by AUEKU from the Bunker, who's an absolute stud, lives here in Montgomery, has ties to the state of Kentucky like I do, so we're kind of like bros that way. 1910 Old Forester Old Fine Whiskey. You can find this in any reputable liquor store in North America, and it is so damn good. I would give this probably an 8.5 out of 10 overall. I mean, on a scale, where like Pappy and stuff's a 9.5 or whatever, it's still really good. I would probably put this in my top 10 bourbons. No shit. I know somebody else who would probably put this in his top 10 bourbons. That would be J-Dub. Although Statesman is his favorite Old Forester blend. I'm sorry. Expression. We got one coming in from J-Dub, in fact, right here. He says, at Solo Tigre, Evan Williams Single Barrel is sneaky good. J-Dub, of course, a enthusiast of properly priced bourbons. He is a huge fan of the Old Forester Statesman, and it is growing on me. I would have given the Statesman previously maybe a 6 out of 10, but we had some last night, and God, it was better than I remembered. So I'm going to go ahead and bump that up to 7.5 or 8 out of 10, which is great for a bourbon you can find every single day of the week and twice on Saturday. Our favorite Flying Dutchman, Don Properdicken. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He just says cheers. Don Properdicken, of course, coming to us live from Holland. And what an incredible brain drainer. He speaks great English, too, which is what's incredible. The education system over there, they're so far ahead of us. Kaduma jumps in with another super chat because that's who he is and that's what he does. He says, please smash the like button, folks. We only have 13 likes right now. So we could do with more. We have a lot more people watching than that. So let's give it a thumbs up, yo. Mobile alum in the house. What's up, girl? She says, hey, JG War Eagle. Bruce is the goat. Yes, sir. Yeah, he's been coaching his I was going to say something. He's been coaching well here lately, for sure, right? Remember the Buck? Who gave me a thumbs down? How dare you? That must be a Georgia fan out there. Maybe it's Ben Wolk. No, Ben wouldn't give me a thumbs down. I know it's not Don Properdicken, though. They don't even allow thumbs down in Holland. D Lucky giving a shout out to J Dub. Of course, I was very stoked to have those guys together at the Christmas party, I believe it was. Man, when I got J Dub from my Montgomery crew, and then D Lucky from the Madison Mafia, and those two guys get together, I mean, it's like I feel like I'm in a special place in my life, when you finally get all your crew together, they're like all the different circles, and they just like the best of each circle comes together for it's like the Hall of Justice, Everyone's a superpower. Mobile Alum says, any updates on the get-together in Lower Alabama? No, not yet. Again, that's between me and Chip to get that done. Chip has gone above and beyond so far. He's got us a spot. He's got us a probable date for that in late April. Young Maddie Tate, my daughter, is going to be turning 21 on April 24. So she goes to school of South Alabama. You guys know that. So I'm going to probably be down that way at that point, and that seems like a good time to try to get something going. Solo Tigre says, I bet Dawn is a big Andrew Jones fan. Of course, yes. Andrew Jones. Wait, why did it only give me half a laugh? There we go. Andrew Jones, of course, from Curacao, which has a lot of Dutch ties through the years. Decatur Tiger 97 says, what up, JG? Hey, I'm glad to see you, bro. I wonder where you live. Probably lives in Huntsville. I'm just kidding. J-Dub jumping in says, D-Lucky, what up, bro? Hope you and the wife are well. I'm draining and having some Davis County. I bet he has that. You have that toasted barrel Davis County, don't you? That yellow label. Incredible bourbon for the price, yo. Davis County is sneaky good. And you can find that. Well, the regular Davis County is so-so, but if you get the blue label Davis County, the red label Davis County, or the yellow label Davis County, all three of those are home runs in my opinion. So the Tigre says probably just Huston Jokinson. Uh-oh. AU Storm says can't call in tonight, but man, this team just keeps improving and grinding. Now the real season begins. That's my guy right there. AU Storm 20, who's probably our favorite basketball caller. I don't know if we can pick a favorite, but he's our damn good basketball caller. Jumping in. Definitely, what I love most about AU Storm? He doesn't get carried away with wins and losses. He stays on track with what this team's doing from a developmental perspective at all times and doesn't get freaked out by a big win or a big loss. Although he does love a big win. MW Devers, possibly the tallest bunker of all the bunkers, says he feels like Don Properdickin and Don Kedick probably run together. Don Kedick sounds like he might be from Ireland. I don't know. But, Ireland and Holland have a very complicated history. But those two guys, there's two Dons right there that can probably bridge the gap, bridge the distance, so to speak. I'm telling you, man, this Old Fine whiskey is just like buttery. It's like so thick in your mouth. Oh, it's like syrup. I love it. Let's see. Blake says it was Neil with the thumbs down. We got to give a laugh for that. Although the thumbs down has been rescinded. So there you go. Cody M says, late to the drain, but do you think Bruce and the staff emphasized to Jalen that he needed to be more assertive? He's been great the last 2 weeks. Dude, they've been doing that to him for 2 years. They love Jalen. Remember last year after the – I don't know. It was late in the season. It may have been in the tournament when he was talking about how when – I can't remember his name now. I'm bad with names. I don't know what the deal is. Jabari and Walker left. It was like this. Who gave the thumbs down again? Damn you. When Walker and Jabari left, this is going to be Jalen's team. That's the way he described it last year. So, he was coming in hot right there saying Jalen's going to be our guy next year. And, he still says stuff like that all the time. Like this team comes and goes whether Jalen's playing great or not, It's time to put pressure on Jalen and let him show who he is. I have got this. Yeah, okay, that's right. We got one more bad time, right? So the Texas A&M game coming up is going to be at 8 o'clock, which is too damn late for a weekday game, in my opinion. We will not be brain draining it after that game. But then you've got a bunch of games here that are palatable on 11 a.m., 6 p.m., 1 p.m., 6 p.m., 1 p.m., 6 p.m. We can brain drain after all that. I am going to be at the beach for my man Cuz's 50th, somewhere in that range, somewhere in the 11 to 14 range. But we will be doing shows from the beach if I'm down there that long. Definitely one of those. But, hey, we can do it. Make it work. Plus, beach shows could be cool. Man, we got administrative assistant with me. We got Denton's mom with us, Denton's dad with us. Uncle Tommy's coming. Aunt Sonia's coming. So it's going to be fun. We'll see what's going on there. Solo Tigre says the freaky deaky Dutch. My high school, our mascot was the Dutch. We were the Dutchmen. But now, you don't say Dutchman anymore. So it's just the Dutch. Decatur Tiger 97. I was joking earlier about where does he live. I bet he lives in Huntsville. LOL. He says, I actually live in Madison. LOL. D-Lucky tells him to change his name and represent. Yep. I love it. J-Dub does confirm that he's drinking that Yellow Label Davis County, that light toast. The only way you can get it in our state, I believe, is the allocation. But some of our friends in Georgia and Tennessee might be able to find that in the store, which would be incredible. AU Taxman in the house. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. The man donated to the bunker a bottle of Booker's, which we drank partially at the event on June 4th at Soho Social. Attendance was meek because that was the night of the Garth Brooks concert, and we had a lot of bunks at the Garth Brooks concert, thank you. By the way, those guys who are both bunker members, Soho Social, etc., just opened Soho Taco there in Homewood as well. So check that out if you guys are down that way. I'm telling you, the guys who own it are obs. They're part of the family, and they're good folks, really, really good folks. Both of them they have gone so far out of their way to be cool. So anyway, the Bookers, we drank like maybe a quarter of that, and then I took it, put it back in the box that it came in, and it's sitting downstairs untouched. So the next time we get together up in Birmingham, we'll break out that Bookers, dude. It has not gone to waste, AU Taxman. Elijah jumps in and says, is Kentucky any good? Kentucky is okay in an SEC context. I think they'll finish like 6th, somewhere in that range, maybe 7th. Arkansas, I'm not sure what to say about Arkansas right now. Coming into the season, I thought they would be awesome. Now my expectations are a little bit lower. I think that Auburn's better than Arkansas. I think that Tennessee's better than Arkansas. I think Alabama's better than Arkansas, so they could be 4th. I don't know. They're in that range. That's how I see them right now. Crocky Poo jumps in with a super chat. I would be interested to know what Crocky Poo thinks about those two teams too, because Crocky is a very shrewd basketball analyst. It says Ward and Eagle JGT back from the UAB game. Wendy, hot. Oh, yeah. I didn't know UAB was playing, but good for you for going, bro. That sounds like fun. Let's see. Corey Dub says, would it be Jalen's team if the kid at Tennessee chose AU? Forget his name. I'm old. Is that Julian Phillips? Is that what we're talking about? I don't know. That's a good question. I think Jalen was always going to be... See, to me, this is really Wynn's team, right? I mean, if BP says it's Jalen's team, then it's Jalen's team, but I think it's really Wynn's team. Social Taco. Thank you, Solo Tigre. I don't know how I got that wrong. Social Taco. Right across the street from Soho Social. And, yeah. Either way, it's an awesome spot run by dudes that really give a shit about Auburn and do a great job. They're great restaurateurs. And I find myself saying this every single time we do a show about somebody, but New Gus who is one of the primary guys there at all the Soho Soho restaurants. His wife's a total smoke show. So I say that about it. It happens every week. Might as well keep it going. Spicy P jumps in, says, what up, fam? Just moved to North Carolina. Hate I couldn't make the trip today. Spicy P, bro, you moved a long damn way, man. Moving to North Carolina from where you were is that's not a driving trip, I wouldn't think. I hope you find prosperity and happiness in North Carolina, brother. Denton's mom and dad used to live in North Carolina. They had a good time there. They have a lot of nice things to say about it. They lived in the Winston-Salem area. And I went up and visited one time, and I was really shocked to go to my first ever it was like a store where they sell beer growlers. You know what I mean? Man, I enjoy the shit out of that. Let's see what else we got going on. Sam H. mentions that 9 turnovers for Auburn today, and that's a good total. Damn right it is. It sure is. Let's take a look at some of these numbers real quick. I know I'm blocking the chat. Sorry about that, guys. The Auburn Tigers with the 20 assists and 9 turnovers. They'll take that all day long. 8 steals, including like 3 in a row there late in the second half, or I was going to say second quarter, first half. Auburn had the best run of the entire season, the final 5 minutes of the first half today. You had bucket, steal, bucket, shot clock violation created by defense, bucket. 2 of those were dunks. I mean, it was just like an absolute... I wrote something on the bunker. I said, this is the biggest ass-kicking for like a 90-second period you'll ever see in basketball. It was just absolutely off the chain. Auburn was playing the best basketball of the entire season, both ends of the floor, and just absolutely just destroying South Carolina. Their coach is like, time the fuck out. Let's see. Crocky Poo says Kentucky is in the 4 to 5 range, Arkansas in the 9 to 10 range. Boy, that's a little different than I saw it for sure. Now, Arkansas's best player is a guy named Nick Smith that Auburn really wanted to sign and thought that it had a shot at. It came down to Kentucky, Arkansas, and Auburn for him. He ended up going to Arkansas, obviously, but he's been banged up. He's got a knee problem of some kind, and they're being extremely conservative with the treatment for that because obviously he's got a future in the NBA because he's a stud. So he hasn't played in a long time, and I think Arkansas without him, it hurts. I mean, it would be like, let's just say that it was just Jabari last year and like, you know, it was like Jabari in like some regular center instead of Walker, and then Jabari goes out, and you'd just be like, oh, shit. That's kind of where Arkansas is at. So I respect Crocky Poo on that one, and he might be right. Maybe I'm just off on how much I think of Arkansas, you know. Hayden in the house. What up, bro? Let's give Hayden some applause. We love Hayden. So JGT, what's up, brother? Love what I'm seeing from this team. Never doubt Bruce. Appreciate you and your work, War Damn Eagle. Thank you, Hayden. Glad to have you here, bro. I know you swimmed in, a couple 3 years ago now, 4 years ago maybe, on one of our football shows. Glad to have you still sticking around, man. Decatur Tiger. I'm going to start calling him Madison Tiger. I forgot they were having that game up at Toyota Field. They are indeed at the Trash Panda Stadium. Auburn against North Alabama, as I recall. Baseball. It's going to be in February, and we're going to definitely do something for that. Hopefully I'm going to be able to hit that. I really want to because we got a lot of legends in Madison and Huntsville and a few over in Decatur, too. D-Lucky's expecting me to make an appearance. Listen, when D-Lucky expects me somewhere, I'm going. There's no doubt about that. All right, Blake R is going to be tapping out. All right, JGT and fam, heading to go get some food, get smashed with work friends. Man, that sounds like a damn good night right there. Love everybody, War Damn Eagle. Appreciate you, Blake. This one's for you, my man. What a stud that guy is. Unbelievable. Eddie James is still bad on threes. You're absolutely right. Auburn had a great statistical night in a lot of ways, but three-point shooting, again, not one of them. Auburn finishes 3 of 17 from 3. An incredible night from 2. I think they shot 65% or so from 2, but 3 was kind of a mess. Free throw line was good, 18 of 25. He'll take that all night. So, yeah, it was not a perfect outing by any stretch, Eddie. And the three-point shooting is going to remain a problem for this team for the foreseeable future because I just don't think – it's not that they're just shooting poorly. It's just that they don't have shooters. And it's something they missed on. J. Olive Sr. says Crocky done spent at least $9.99 on all his info. My man. Let's see. Farm Data said, did I miss any deserved accolades for Yohan? Well, yeah, we talked about him a couple times. 8 points for him tonight, and did not look out of place, really. Didn't get a ton of run, 10 minutes. I mean, 8 points in 10 minutes, you'll take that all day long. Not really any peripheral stats of note. 1 rebound and -1 overall, although in a 10-minute span, that's not enough data really to do anything. You would certainly understand that. But, yeah, for him to just not look totally lost, for him to be a useful part of the team when he's on the floor, that's a huge step forward. So, yeah. I heard something that was just kids outside. Is it still light enough to be playing? It's 5:57. Surely it's dark outside by now. BP Rockman in the house. What up, brother? There he is, the man, the legend. What a stud that guy is. He is a Tottenham Hotspur fan, which is not great, but other than that, he's pretty awesome. Let's see. Bo's Great says BP 100.87. Welcome back. I'll give him this one.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
He is back on the bunker with a new handle. I do like this one better. His last one was BP Rockman 6.9, which is 69 interrupted by a period, which is something that I don't think any of us would enjoy, really. Corey Dub says he thinks he and his better half are going to hit up Firebirds tonight. He thinks steak could be a good hangover cure. Boy, there's a lot of good stuff at Firebirds, bro. A lot of good choices there. I almost got into a fight there one time, and I'm not a fighter. This dude from AUM wanted to tell me he was the footballer of the year one time, and I was like, I don't give a shit. He's like, you should give a shit. I was like, why? I wonder if J-Dub remembers that. He might have been there with me. Because I don't go to Firebirds by myself. I wouldn't do that. J Love Sr. says, Corey Dub, you're going to need some greasy food to cure that hangover. To which Corey Dub says, that's true. Yeah, Corey was going pretty hard last night. He represented the Weber clan quite well. He and his wifey and one of his conciliaries were there, along with us, and Denton's mom and dad were there. We were absolutely tearing that place up, man. Drinking a lot of bourbon, which is the way it should go. There was one other thing I was going to pull up here. Let me go ahead and get that. This is not necessarily breaking news here, but the general scouting report for Auburn from a Ken Palm perspective. It doesn't really change game to game, but it's worth just kind of having a conversation about on par with what we were talking earlier with the three-point shooting. Let me close out of this one. Bye-bye. And we will add this one. These are some very important statistical markers and where Auburn stands from a national perspective in each one. On the right, you see these colored columns. On the left is offense, on the right is defense. So when you're looking at like three-point percentage, Auburn is 25.1, third in the country at that. So that's three-point defense, right? Because Auburn had two incredible Mississippi State didn't even hit a three-pointer. The game before that, it was something ridiculous where Ole Miss was shooting very, very poorly. Tonight, South Carolina was okay from three-point range. But nonetheless, Auburn, one of the best three-point shooting defensive teams in the country. Part of that is because Wen gets out on you. Zep gets out on you. Al gets out on you. They don't give up a lot of wide-open threes. It's an important part of their defensive personality. Two-point defense is good as well, 45% for the opponents. A lot of that is because Auburn, again, is pretty good at building a wall against drivers and also has good rim protection with Janai and, to a lesser degree, Dylan. That really helps. First of all, you swat the shot. Second of all, you dissuade people from even driving. So that helps a lot, too. Free throw number is kind of funny. You think about a team that's good free throw defenders. You can't really do that, can you? Block percentage, 15.4, which is below what they were last year, but still very good. Janai, very much a good shot blocker and shot alterer. And you can see on offense, Auburn's three-point shooting is 330 in the country. I'm not exactly sure how many teams there are. I can get that data for you pretty damn quickly. There are 361 teams. So Auburn is in the bottom, 5% in the country in three-point shooting, which is not good. And they're also not good at free throw shooting. And they're also not good at, they give the ball away a little too much. Other teams get too many steals. So, guys, this is not a terrible footprint statistically for the NCAA tournament. Particularly when you just scored 81 points at South Carolina. It shows you that you're making some improvements on offense where your defense is still pretty damn good. I like this team. I like the stock. Do wish they had another shooter or two. But maybe, Yo can be a guy that helps a little bit. And maybe Jalen is going to be, I think he's a terrific three-point shooter. Maybe he's going to shoot with a little more volume and give them, make that accuracy really kind of pay for these opponents a little bit more. But there isn't some untapped weapon that's going to fix this three-point shooting problem right now. There's just not. They tried to get some dudes last year and they didn't get them. And that's all there is to it. I think the one that stings the most is that Devin Cambridge is out at Arizona State absolutely crushing it. He's absolutely crushing it. I don't know. We watched him so long. I'm trying to get his numbers up here. We watched Devin so long, shanking three-pointer after three-pointer. Good God. Okay, he's cooled off a bit now. For the season, he's shooting 37% from three, which is good. At Auburn, that would be terrific. But last year at Auburn, he shot 22%. His three-point shooting percentage dropped 3 consecutive years from 34% to 29% to 22% at Auburn, and now he's back to 37%. So, wish he'd have done that here. But he is playing with his brother there, and maybe there's just kind of a comfort level. You never know. I'm happy for him. He's a good dude. We all like him. Just wish he would have made that. Blake D in the house as well says, what up and much love, Auburn family. Great bounce back from Janai. Wendell finding him quite often, and really nice to see Traore contribute more than normal. Absolutely. They definitely had something going on, didn't they, Blake, where they had, like, Janai knew that he had a huge advantage in the post. They didn't have anybody who could touch him. And then Wynn was like, I'm going to find him. And they had a few plays drawn up to kind of get Janai isolated. And once he got isolated, they really didn't have a way to stop him. AU Taxman says, isn't three-point shooting down across the SEC? Interesting. I don't have an easy way to find that number right now while I'm on the air, but I bet it's out there. For show. I'd be curious to see. Ken Palm does a thing where you can do by league. Oh, damn. Somebody must have just signed in on this account. We share an account. The guys at auburnsports.com do, so somebody's been looking at it. Let me see. Let me get back to Auburn. Southeastern Conference. It's difficult for me to see like what's going on here. Ken Palm, for what it's worth, and I'm a big believer in Ken Palm in general, he rates the SEC as the fourth best league in the country. Big 12 first, Big 10 second, Big East third, with the Pac-12 firmly behind Auburn, and the ACC behind them. Let's see. Offensively, the three best teams in the conference are Alabama, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt. Defensively, the three best teams are Alabama, Tennessee, and Texas A&M, so that gives you an idea why Alabama's having such a great year. They're the best offensive team, and they're the best defensive team in the league right now. Also, Ken Palm, right now, if they had to vote for SEC like first team, they would have Wendell Green on there. They've got Brandon Miller, of course, the outstanding freshman in Alabama, Colin Castleton, who we all hate, from Florida, Oscar Tshiebwe from Kentucky, Wendell Green, and Zakai Ziegler. I don't know much about him, really. But those are the five, according to Ken Palm, the five best players in the SEC. Alabama also plays at a very, very fast tempo, which is good because a lot of teams out there in the SEC are running, 7-man rotations, whereas the Auburn Tigers are running a 10-man rotation and maybe 11 if you think Yo can help. And if by the time that Alabama comes to the arena in about 2 weeks' time, if Yo is able to kind of step up and be a little bit better, like he was tonight, Auburn is a team that can run with Alabama. That can go up and down the floor and not be worried about it because they've got the depth. Do we have any updates on the Alabama-Missouri game right now? I'll be interested to keep an eye on that. Locked On, my man. What's up, bro? He says, Broom! He had a great game tonight. What was it? The numbers are starting to run together in my head. I think he had 27 points. Let me take a gander. Janai had, indeed, 27 points on 12 of 17 shooting. 3 of 3 at the line. 11 rebounds. 2 blocks. So, yeah, hell of a night for him. They just didn't have an answer for him. They knew that. And that was the plan. And they executed that really, really well. All right, Corey Dubs out, man. Says, walking into the restaurant. Great show, JG. Glad to have you, Corey. I hope you're still here to see me say, what up, bro? I enjoyed it last night. Had a great time. Corey G's in the house. I love it, man. I love you've got that Lil Jon on there from a Chappelle show going, what? Okay. Love it. Says J Goat T. We look like we're starting to find our style and identity a little later than wanted, but glad it's happening now before the gauntlet begins. Absolutely. Morgan M. jumps in to say Bama's up 10 at halftime. Very good. Thanks for the update there. BP jumps in as well. 38-28 is the exact score. Interesting. Ravine says Dylan moves so well for a big man. He should still run in a fast break. I agree. He's a very agile guy. I mean, he looks like a wrestler. He kind of has that wrestler body. He's very bendy. I mean, he's been better this year for sure. I expected more from him in a general sense at the beginning of his career. So looking at his career arc, I thought he would peak a little higher than he has. But he's still got some time. He's still got another full year left after this, and we'll just kind of see, man. I do think a lot of him. Sometimes players like him that are super enthusiastic, and even though his enthusiasm is wholly positive, sometimes I think they get a little off track when they're that demonstrative, even though, again, he's a very positive person. He's never negative. AU Taxman says he's at the Samford game. They're looking to go 8-0 in SoCon play. How about that, huh? Very interesting. I saw somewhere where they said that was the best game day environment in the state. Was it Sanford? Which, I mean, could very well be. I don't know. I've never been to a Sanford game. And we all know they have, well, really they have both good football and basketball heritage, but they particularly good basketball heritage. A former friend of mine named Scott Padgett used to be the coach there. I say former friend just because I knew him when he was a player at Kentucky, but I haven't kept up with him. Big G in the house is just a simple man out here wishing for a G-Pitts return. We talked about that a little bit earlier, Big G. I mean, I did share some texts with Neil last weekend, but they didn't really go anywhere, per se, so I don't necessarily think there's a change coming on that. I would not say G-Pitts is done. I would just say G-Pitts is on hiatus, and honestly, I don't really understand why. Like, I would do a show Wednesday if we're going to, well, Wednesday's kind of tough when it's basketball season because a lot of times he's got a game on Wednesday and I have got a game on Wednesday, et cetera, but maybe on Thursdays or something. I'm fine with that. I'm 100% good with that. Just hadn't happened. So I would not say that show's not over. That show's not over. Not at all. May have to kind of think about it a little bit, though. I mean, about how, I don't know, what to see. Somebody made the assertion earlier, maybe me and Gabe should do a show, which, I mean, I get along real good with Gabe, too. So the problem with me and Gabe is that, like, me and Gabe, we see a lot of things the same way in a way that, like, me and Neil don't. So maybe that would be more of there'd be a lot of harmony with me and Gabe, whereas with me and Neil, we kind of bang into each other a little bit. I mean, what is Shannon Sharp without that dipshit that he does the show with, right? Skip Bayless, who's always got some weird take, and he's doing it just to kind of be the lone fussy guy, the squeaky wheel, so to speak. But Big G, I appreciate you jumping over here to tell me that, man. Sometimes I thought that G-Pitts was just kind of there and that nobody gave a shit, I mean, we got download numbers and stuff. When you see numbers, you're like, I don't know, it doesn't really translate to people very well, And I get some of that with the brain drain because a lot of times, the brain is a little different because I'm here with you guys and we're interacting live. So I know who's here, I know who likes it and stuff. But I'm always amazed by how many people say something to me in public when I'm out or whatever about the brain drain. I watch the brain drain. I love watching you drink bourbon. I love watching you talk about the game and get loaded and stuff. Like people that are not, Ravine or D Lucky or the people that are always here, AU Taxman. I mean, there's so many. Canoeman, Pocket Watch, et cetera, et cetera. JL Senior says, do a show with Jay Lee. You guys know how I feel about Jay Lee now, and you guys know how he feels about me. We're like brothers. I love the guy. I stand behind the guy. I would love to do a show with Jay Lee. It probably just doesn't work from a network perspective, right? He kind of works for a competing network, and in that situation, I think there's elements within that network that are not fans of JG Tate for reasons that I think are BS, but whatever. Whatever. It's the way it goes sometimes. I'd love to do one with him, though, again. Maybe we can figure that out. We could do like a once a year show with JG and Jay Lee. I don't know. Maybe. Locked On says, Locked On, of course, one of our superstars from the lower Alabama area, says, when is our Mobile rundown? We're just kind of working on probably late April is what I'm thinking, bro. Jay Ellis Sr. says, y'all don't even have to talk shop. I mean, we would, but I think me and Jay Lee could do a whole show without talking shop for sure. There's just not many people I've met in my life. I'm 50 years old now who I feel like speak my language, who because I live in a very weird place in my head. I'm a very strange person. I look at the world in a very strange way, and I think of things in strange ways. And Jay Lee's one of the only people I've ever met in my entire life where I feel like he understands it. Because he thinks the same way in a lot of ways. We're very crass individuals in our head. Smokey Mirrors says, what would Jay Lee drink? Zimas. He loves him a Zima with a Jolly Rancher thrown in there. That's for damn sure. We know that. Canoeman was reinforcing what I'd said earlier about April down there in the Mobile area. Yeah. We have great folks in the Mobile area. We have great representation all around the state, honestly. There's been some pushes for us to expand out toward the Atlanta area as well, also Nashville. I don't know. I just kind of feel better in the state. Did have a chance to meet Alpha Tiger. I saw he swoogened us earlier. Hung out with Alpha Tiger at a shindig, a Raiders shindig back in August or early September. It was great seeing him. I know we got a lot of great bunks in the Atlanta area, which would include Ruxy Poo, who's a stud. So, like to do that someday. Ravine says he's ready for a meetup. What's the closest locale for you, Ravine? I don't know exactly where you're at, bro. Corey G is down in Orlando. I love Orlando. It's a little ways from where I'm at, bro, and I don't know one single place to party in Orlando. You know what I mean? Like I don't know Orlando at all. I don't know where we would go. So I always have to have somebody local to help, you know. Ravine is availing himself as a Crestview, Florida resident. Oh my God. Is there a town in the world that has worse traffic than Crestview, Florida? For fuck's sake, man. Every time I go, it's just a mess, man. The traffic in Crestview for a town that size is just awful. So Tigre says, a giant round table with everyone but Blackerby? Is he bad guy now? Hoke. I get that. And Van Allen Plexico. Yeah, I had to block Van Allen Plexico on Twitter. I don't think he's a good guy, I think, but man, he really came at me a couple times. Let's see. You were thinking we could have one with Keith, who's a stud. Jason's an absolute stud. Caleb's a stud. Jay Ferg's a stud. The Assassin, a.k.a. The Assassin. Yeah, he's a stud, too. Love him. Yeah, that'd be fun, man. I just don't think it'll happen because it's like pressure, you know? Like if it was like me and Jason Caldwell and like B-Matt or whatever, like the 24/7 people would be like, what are you doing with rivals or whatever? Like, even though me and Brian and Jason get along real good, I love Jason Caldwell. That guy's an absolute stud. One of my all-time favorite people ever. Great reporter and just a great dude. Period. Jay Ferg, I don't know him as well, but I read his stuff sometimes, and he's really good. He's pretty inspiring for the way that he cut himself, like when his gig with the Athletic ran out, and it wasn't his fault at all. Athletic just overexpanded. The way he found his own niche, man, and just kind of created it for himself. It's pretty impressive. Damn impressive. Canoeman says downtown Disney, LOL, talking about places to party in Orlando. Corey's like, nah. You can find better than that. I'm sure about that. Mike G. Corey asks to maybe have on that round table. Absolutely. We love him. We love us some Mike G now. I do, in particular. Some people don't, but I don't know why. They're idiots. Mike G's a stud. Ravine says drink around the world. Yo, Courtney actually broke out a Canoeman says Jason is an incredible dude. He really is. Jason's the best of us, honestly. Humans. I'm not referring about Auburn reporters. I'm talking about humans. He's just a very principled, godly man. I mean, he really is. Much better person than I am, for sure. Courtney broke out the video not too long ago when we did Around the World drinking at Epcot. Maybe it was before the pandemic. And your boy I was on lap 2. We were headed toward Germany. I couldn't go any further. And the video is bad. I'm not even, you guys watch a lot of Brain Drain and you've seen me pretty messed up, but I don't know if you've seen me that messed up. Pocket Watch says, I can't believe Jason Caldwell stayed with 24/7 Sports. They are so bad. I mean, he's been over there a long time. He's awesome. Like, he's a franchise in and of himself. He's working with Mark. He's working with P. Marsh. He's working with Nate. Working with the Assassin. He's got a great group over there. I don't really think about it as a network thing. I think about it, he's in a good spot with good folks, you know? And I mean, when you're in a good spot with good folks, it's something that I feel like I do every single day when I go to work. I got B-Matt on my team. I got Stoltze on my team. I got Caleb on my team. Love Henry. I feel good about it, you know? Obby61 says, I've known Caldwell since elementary school. There's one of our Sylacauga guys right there. No one is better. Absolutely. He is. I mean, honestly, I'm not bullshitting you when I say this. I wish I was as awesome as Jason is, seriously, because I fall short every single day. But there's always tomorrow. There's always tomorrow. Jason, also, I pride myself on this. I feel like there is no one on this planet better at 80s music trivia than me. Like, I know 80s music like nobody. And that's why I feel like I should be on 80s on 8. Jason Caldwell is, I don't think he knows it better than I do, but he knows it as well as I do. He is incredible at 80s music. And Denton's mom is, she may be right there too. She's definitely right there. She may be even with me too. And much respect for that, because I feel like that's my thing. Canoeman says, Ole Miss drunk. That should be a hashtag, right? Hornatius loves to throw it at me and be like, Ole Miss drunk. Ole Miss drunk. Ole Miss drunk does a number on my liver, though. I'm sure it does. Ravine says, I frequent Orlando about 4 times a year. I'm sure we could find something. I mean, yeah, there's definitely something, but I just don't know it. So I got to lean on people who are in the Orlando area to get us set up, you know what I mean? And Corey can certainly be that person, but I hate to make it one person have to do it all. So anyway, that's kind of what we're looking at on the events. Let's see. CJ says, very frustrating to hear the biased Alabama media continue to praise Bama and throw Auburn in last. UAT is very good, but all Auburn has done is gone 16-3, 6-1 in the SEC, and won 28 straight at home. War Eagle. Is that true, CJ? I got to admit, dude, I don't read much. If Philip's not writing it, if Jason's not writing it, and our guys, I'm not reading it. Like, I'm telling you, I live in like a vacuum, right? We've got a group chat that we do at auburnsports.com. So like me, B-Matt, Stulty, Caleb, we all kind of talk about shit. And then like Jason and Philip, I'll read because I've known them 30 years or whatever. But like, I don't read anybody else, and it's not any disrespect. It's just like I don't want their ideas to permeate my brain, because then I could unknowingly be stealing their ideas. You know what I mean? I'm weird about that, but so I don't necessarily see that or hear that. I don't notice any disrespect out there, CJ, for Auburn Tigers. They're a really good team. They've got a fatal flaw where they don't have good three-point shooting, but they're doing a great job kind of fighting through that. And Auburn's a good basketball team, so I don't see that disrespect. But you may, and if so, those people are full of shit, because Auburn's good. I don't think they're as good as Alabama by and large this year, but we're going to find out. Auburn's got a chance to prove me wrong on that one. Canoeman says, Denton's mom. She definitely knows her 80s. She's great. Actually, I would love to. She would always be my teammate in a Trivial Pursuit game. She's great at that. Smokey Mirror says, I'll be at Disney at the end of February. Awesome. It's for a school field trip, though. We will drink around the world, but I doubt the teenagers will be able to keep up and make it around the world. I would hope that you were not feeding teenagers alcohol. They shouldn't be drinking. Yes. That's how I feel about it. I didn't drink. Wait, hold on. Yes, I did. I didn't drink in high school, though. I was a teenager, though. I got drunk when I was at Transy. Let's see. Corey G wants to talk about Katie's role in minutes. So he played a little bit more tonight than normally. I think he's a guy that's like a 15 to 20-minute person myself, because he is just so like up and down, right? His last 5 games, let's see, 20 minutes, 17, 22, and 18 tonight. Had 2 points tonight. Although it was a really cool bucket for him, where he bypassed the open 3 in transition to then drive to the bucket and put one up that was like, a layup. It's a very smart play by him. 4 fouls today for him in 18 minutes. That's part of the problem with him. He's not a great defender, and he's a very streaky shooter. So if he's hot, you just keep hitting it, right? And if he's not, you pull him. I see right now, looking at KenPom real quick, that in conference games alone, now that is a small sample. It's only 7 games. But his turnover rate is obscenely low. He has the 7th best turnover rate in the entire SEC among qualified ball handlers. So he's doing much better on that end. For comparison's sake, he's turning over. Well, it's just too in the weeds to explain that. But he's also doing good at steals. He's getting steals. Not quite like he was last year, but he's still doing a good job. So he's quick-handed. His positioning is not awesome. He doesn't have that elite agility that some of the other guys do, but he has quick hands, and he's kind of a bandit out there, isn't he? Eddie J says, Bama did say we will lose by 30 points at our home. Yeah, that was something that Quinterly had posted on Twitter. He kind of got baited into that, I guess. But he did say it. It seemed that way. So I wonder if that's going to come up as that game draws a little bit closer. That's still, 4 games out for Auburn. That's on the 11th, I think, of February. Today's the 21st of January, so we got a little ways to go. But those are going to be 2 very, very hyped games if Auburn continues to play the way that they have been and Alabama continues to play the way they have been. That's going to be a huge game, possibly one of the biggest Auburn-Alabama basketball games ever, because they could both be in the top 10, which is unusual in basketball, right? Football, common, but relatively common. Basketball probably never happened. All right, guys, we'll probably wrap it up there, guys. Pipe right as Pipe shows up, we're gonna wrap it up there. I wonder how Purdue did today. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wrap it up there in just a second, though, bro. I do want to look at Purdue real quick. Purdue is number 5 in the Ken Palm. They're number 1 in the AP poll, I believe. 18-1. Okay, they're playing Maryland tomorrow at home. So, yeah, you know how we feel about Purdue. If they're not playing Auburn, I mean, why would we give a shit? We love Purdue. 18-1 right now, 7-1 in league play. Their only loss was to Rutgers, a team that Auburn people are not very happy with right now because the Ace Bailey, the 5-star wing, recently committed to Rutgers out of nowhere. So people are a little bit surly about that. I get it. They're going to be playing the Maryland Terrapins tomorrow. Knuman says, who is headed to Morgantown? Anybody going up that way? I was there for the game in 2008, the football game. Was shocked because their stadium, I think Georgia's the only other stadium I've been to where, like, when you walk into the stadium, it's down in a hole, right? For West Virginia, if you're going to go to the field, you're going down, whereas most stadiums, you're going level, usually. Also, they have a mass transit system at West Virginia. It's like it doesn't necessarily look like the one at Disney, but they've got like a monorail. They've got like an elevated like people mover on the campus of West Virginia. It's very odd. I was shocked to see it. Very, very strange. But, whatever. West Virginia. It is what it is. All right, guys, we'll wrap it up there for real. Thank you for tuning in. I want to give a big shout-out to all of our super chatters. Farm Data dropped a huge one earlier, and what an absolute stud that guy is. Also, we had a bunch earlier. I know I don't want to go through each one, but just because I'll forget somebody. But Knuman was doing it consistently as he just drops one right here. Great show as always. Thank you. No, thank you, Knuman. Your diligence and your generosity, both with your time and your super chats, has been incredible. So thank you for that. MWD now using his proper handle says, I think there was a highly ranked AU Bama basketball game in 1985. All right, I'll take a look at that. Let me write that down. I'll take a look at that. That sounds like a good time right there. I wish I could go back to 85 sometimes. I had a good time in 85. Knuman says he was in Morgantown for the 2008 game as well. Still frozen from that beatdown. It was a chilly day there in Morgantown. And Tubb, if you remember, was wearing the wrong color orange, and everybody got pissed off. He was wearing like Texas orange instead of Auburn orange. It's kind of weird. Auburn also, I believe, unless it's changed, that was the longest scoring drive in Auburn history that day. I think they had like a 21-play drive with Cody Burns at quarterback. Ravine says this is without a doubt the best interactive Auburn fan show in the universe. That's what I like to hear right there. That's what I'm shooting for. There's not a huge market for it. It's kind of a niche product, but I try to be there for y'all. And I mean, really, it's just about the fun, right? The fun and the fellowship. Whether it's 100 of us or 5,000 of us, I don't know. If there were a bunch more, though, the chat might go too fast. Do you know what I mean? Knuman says not mass transit as much as a transit system. It is not efficient on any level. Hey, if you've been on it or you know more about it, that's awesome because I just saw it. I was like, that's bullshit. Does that really work? They're like, oh, it really does work. And I was like, damn, that's cool. Anyway, yeah, we'll wrap it up there, guys. Anyway, great win for the Auburn Tigers today, 81-66 at South Carolina. Got some big games coming up. The next one is going to be Wednesday night at home against the Texas A&M Aggies. We will not have a show because that game tips off at 8 o'clock Central, which means we wouldn't even get on the air until like 11 o'clock Central. That's midnight for our friends in the Eastern time zone. There's a lot of you guys, and it's a weekday, so we got to go to work the next morning. Well, maybe not me, but most people do. And so we're going to pass on that one. But the good news is that we got a bunch of games after that. Looks like 5 in a row. or no, 6 in a row, I take it back, that have palatable times for us. So we will be doing a lot of draining between January 28th and February 14th. So I will see you guys next weekend here on the Brain Drain for the West Virginia game, and then I'll see you guys on the Bunker, of course, all day, every day, and the game wrap Wednesday night. Until then, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, make great decisions out there. I love you guys. See you next week. Peace.